Jackson Cain in the Case of the Purloined Prophecy by StoryMan-Jack. 2. Deduction. One thing was for sure, whoever Andrea Brown was, that broad really put up a fight. Now, before you get all bent out of shape, even though the room was a mess, I noticed a few things. Good thing, too, since the coroner wasn't waiting for, how did he put it, a dumbass private dick to fuck up his crime scene. Though, to be fair, I've never done such a thing. Not by accident, anyway. Let's not get into that. Most curious was the way the victim's body was mutilated. And I figured there were 3 possibilities, though each one was as ridiculous as the next. First, she was set upon, but not just by thieves, but dogs or another animal the thieves brought with them for that purpose. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were stealing priceless artifacts of art or anything else from a museum after hours, I doubt I'd bring along rabid canines to help. Or it may just be me. Now, the second possibility I figure was that an animal wandered in after the fact and helped itself to the poor woman's remains. Now, this would require levels of neglect at the museum that would be such an impossibility I couldn't even fathom it. Which left me with one conclusion, as improbable as that could be. The thieves were werewolves. Now, I had a few other things to guide me to this conclusion. There were claw marks on the rugs and tapestries, and what looked to be tears made by fangs on the victim herself. And if one looked closely, smeared bare footprints leading out of the room, though I got lucky and caught the light hitting the floor just right so I could see the prints smudged on the floor. I was inspecting the little plinth the book had rested upon under a broken glass dome, though there was not anything there I could get information from, and I didn't really expect I'd find anything when Dragomir barked. Cain, did you ask that Dean character to show up? My alleged brother's face was red. There's no need to involve ranges. He will just get in our way. Why is he here? I asked. When the Russian's face grew red, I knew that Dean was outside. Yeah, he's going to be my partner on this one, and you're just going to have to deal. I held up a hand before Dragomir could object. Hey, I'll need access to systems and information he can get more easily. Unless you want to get me access to your systems. I paused, letting my voice go sarcastic. Whatever the letters of your agency are. Dragomir just shook his head and walked away. I followed him out of the room. I learned all I could from that scene, and it was starting to get difficult to ignore the dead body in the room. I mean, I don't have that weak a stomach, but seeing a lovely young woman's belly ripped out and devoured like that, it sickened not just my stomach. Sam was waiting for me just outside the museum. Hey, Jax. These cops wouldn't let me in to see. You got what you need from the scene of the robbery? He stated in his gruff country drawl. Scene of the murder, you mean? I told him, turning to Dragomir and added, when can your guys get me that translation? The older man answered. By tomorrow, he said. What translation? Samuel Dean asked. The only thing stolen seemed to be a book about prophecy, I told him. So? He asked, a look of surprise featured on his brow. How much we talking? $1 million? A few million? He paused, watching our faces. You can't seriously suggest that someone ganked that book for prophetic value. That's just stupid. If Dragomir's right, I nodded toward the man before I pushed back my black fedora and lit a cigar. Then if the prophecy, it is nothing more than instructions that have to be carried out before something is fulfilled. I held up my arms, lit cigarette in one hand, motioning quotation marks with my fingers. Then we just try to figure out how the thieves will check off that items on that list. That makes sense, Sam said. I just hope you don't have me reading through it. I'll fall asleep. I always do when I read anything more difficult than penthouse letters. Dragomir snorted, then tried to hide the smile. Impressive, Sam. I didn't think you bought those things for the reading, though. Sam grew red. Very good narrative in those letters. It can teach you stuff, you know. How did that song go? He pauses, thinking, take a look. It's in a book. Reading something, something. Dragomir turned his back and I smirked at Sam. Penthouse is not a book, you moron. Well, Sam said with a completely straight face. Well, at least I know how the girls want. Learned something there, didn't I? I sighed. Sam, you've been divorced 6 times. I shook my head. Damn it, man. You can't even get married in the state of Texas anymore. Stupid law, Sam said, genuinely miffed. I mean, some of us aren't quitters, you know. Yeah, I said. So how did the victim get it? Sam asked. Blunt force, gunshot, knife, he asked. Canines, I said. Sam just stood there with a stupid look on his face. What? She was partially eaten, Dragomir interrupted. Her bowels were eaten by what seems to have been a large carnivore. Sam Dean turned to me. What? Eaten by an animal? I hope you got silver bullets for that goddamn colt you love so much, I told him. You're kidding, right? He asked. Nope. I told him and walked toward my Jeep. Just where are you going? Sam asked. I'm going home, I told him. Do you have any idea how long it's going to take me to get back? It's 60 miles from here. I'll have that translation sent over via email. Dragomir paused as he saw my face. Now, it's not like I don't like computers. It's just that they don't like me. I'm in Korea, he finished. Thanks, Putin. Just don't let your KGB agents change anything before they bring it. You know how they are, I told my brother. I'll be sure to discourage them, Dragomir said, his face flushed, trying to roll with the joke. Then he turned to Sam. Would you tell him I'm not Russian? Sam gave the red salute and said, Hey, he's not Russian. As I suspected, it took almost 2 hours to get home. Oh, joy. You know, sometimes my life is just like Disney World. A lot of build-up for massive disappointment. Oh well, at least my life hasn't screwed up Star Wars and Marvel and everything they touched. I even heard Snow White was going to be a cute black chick. Try to get the average Joe to figure that one out. I can't wait to watch. Sam wasn't far behind me, thank God. As we entered the house, I noticed that for some reason, Kitty, still in my little office in the corner, doing something on the computer. Now, I have no idea how she got the thing to even power up. It won't even turn on for me. Hey, I said as I sat down at my desk while she sat at hers. No, I didn't have the extra desk and chair. They just shown up one day. I leave for lunch, and when I get back, the dame has a brand new desk equipped with a ergonomicron, or whatever the word is for a chair, and looked to me like a very expensive computer. My old one was still an old desktop that I got from a pawn shop with a CRT monitor, and no, that fucker didn't work for me either. When do you go home anyway? She turned and smiled, though I'm not sure if the gesture was meant as a joke or if she was sizing me up for dinner. Those long and pointed canines didn't lend themselves too much to the former. This one will go home when she wishes, Jackson Cain, she said through that smile. Much to do. Not until after I get a meal and some sleep, I told the secretary. There are rare steaks just resting in the oven, she said offhandedly. This one is prepared as you like it, Jax. One for you and one for Ranger Dean. Really? I was surprised. Most times I ate some ramen or frozen pizza or something. Wait, I said, tipping my head back to scratch my widow's peak. Where'd you get the cash for that? A whimsical smile spread across her face. Well, my Jackson, this one has as much money as she needs. Her penchant for speaking of herself in the third person was disturbing, but I figured I had disturbing idiosyncrasies myself. How's that? I asked. How much do you spend? Kit just watched me as if sizing up a meal. Why do I always think of it that way? Because, my Jax, this one, she paused for effect, is a princess. Yep, just like fucking Disney. Fang, fairy, princess, and all that shit. A few moments later, I found myself quietly eating a T-bone steak and baked potato with a side of collard greens with Sam while I thought. Dragomir clearly wanted me to believe that this was the work of werewolves, as ludicrous as that sounded, or someone wanted us all to think that. Who do you think these thieves will try to sell that book to? Sam asked. I'm not sure they will, I told him, pointing my fork at him with a piece of steak hanging off it. If these are instructions or something they want, they may just have taken it. Or someone wanted that one piece very badly, in which case the only perp knows who it's for. Or, I shrugged, probably both. And just how do you know that? Sam asked. Well, Master Sam Dean, that's the one thing missing. I paused, wondering, and everything else in that exhibit was worthless to them, because they destroyed just about everything else to get to it. So they came specifically for the book. Maybe, Sam said before taking another bite of his own steak. Sam, I said, grasping desperately at my patience. There were gold idols in that room, several. The smallest one had to be at least half a pound. Sam whistled. Yeah, I said, and finished my steak. Well, he said, finishing chewing his bite and leaning back in the chair. If it is werewolves, whatever, they should be easy to find. But if it's a regular thief, impossible, I told him. But if it is, we can just hit the fences, and I can suss them out pretty quick. Most are already known to the local PD, Sam said. No one's going to sell this book, I assured him. Well, you know what that means you'll be doing tomorrow, Sam said. Yeah, I know, I sighed. I hated talking to informants, but most times they just lied to get something out of you or to hurt someone in a rival faction, or they were wiped on meth or heroin or that new stuff. Can't remember what it's called. Fin something. I just call it express death. But werewolves, though? Sam demanded in frustration. I know, it's like we're back at our pimply college years playing Dungeons and Dragons, I told him. Sam smirked. You're the only one that was pimply, brother, and you damn well. That was when the phone rang again. It's 2 times in the same day, and I was on a roll. Probably shouldn't have got a lottery ticket. Jackson Cain Investigations, I said into the little black bar. The courier that was sent with the translation was found dead 15 minutes ago. It's the only translation we had is gone, and the computers have been wiped, Dragomir told me without preamble. What the fuck? I said. Sam raised his eyebrows in question, so I answered him. The translation of the book's gone. The courier sent to bring it to us is found dead. What about her backup notes? Sam asked. These nerdy science types back everything up. No dice, I said. They were wiped. Dragomir had to have heard the exchange because he said, when I put the phone back to my ear, just put me on speaker. I fumbled for the phone for a few minutes before Sam took the possessed thing away and put it on speaker for me. To this day, I'm still not sure how they do that. Kitty does it too. Fucking iPhones. Yep, my only lead was a bad one, but it was gone, and I was left with a lot of questions that someone powerful didn't want us to answer. Assassination? I asked, not informing anyone of my leap to the relevant but totally different, divergent conversation. I wasn't getting anywhere with the previous one. Dragomir nodded. Almost would have to have been. The courier was new, right out of college. Oh, joy, I said and spit. I should charge you extra for this shit. Sam just shook his head. We'll start shaking down some folks on the street and see what we can find out. A needle in a haystack. That's all we got, I shrugged. My haystack, your needle, Dragomir said and cut communication. I left Sam to sleep on the couch and went to my bed. Likely the morrow would be filled with more bullshit I wouldn't be prepared for and outright lies I couldn't call out. But that's the game. That's being independent. That's being a dick. My life, just like fucking Disney World. Thank you for listening to this story. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and if you haven't, consider subscribing. If you had issues with this story or this particular episode, please feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought and how I could improve. Remember, your life is your story. Make it a great one. Thank you.